Now, to come to the last way of data binding, two-way data binding, be aware that, as I already explained, it's not the default in Angular 2, and it isn't for a reason, because it is slow and it has some problems. Nonetheless, if you want to use it, and you'll learn that oftentimes you're fine without using it, but if you want to, this is how you do it. I will create a new component and I will name it two-way binding. Again, will be flat with inline template and styling. I'll get rid of the test file. And inside of this, I'll create a new input. So normal HTML element, get rid of this starting text here. Don't need the styles. Don't need on-init and 0, of course. So get rid of all of that. You'll learn what that on-init thing means soon. And with this, I want to bind what I enter here with two-way binding. So I will create an object here. Let's name it person. And person should simply be a JavaScript object. I'll use the literal notation here, which will have a name, let's say Max by default, so my name, and an age, so 27 in my case. So this is the person, and I want to bind this input here to the person's name. I use brackets and parentheses, and between ng model to indicate that I want to bind to a model that I want to use two-way data binding, and then between quotation marks, just the model to which I want to bind. So here to the person and then to the name. So dot notation here to access this field. This already set up two-way data binding. And to demonstrate this, I will duplicate this simply. And now if I implement this by adding the import two-way binding component, what's the name? Two-way binding component is right. Like this. Did I mistype here? Two-way binding component, yeah. So now add it here to the metadata, to the directives metadata, and then of course, as before, oops, harder. I'll add two-way binding, save this, let it reload. And here you see the two import fields at the bottom. Now that might be a bit hard to see though. Let me quickly do some cheap hacking here. Add a couple of empty lines just to bring it up a little bit. So these are the two fields, and if I change it in one of them, see that it changes in both of them. And this is really all that is to it. It's two-way data binding. Both fields are bind in two directions, which means if I change it in one field, it is sent to this property and updated there. And if I update this property from somewhere else, like from the other input field or the other input element, it's also reflected in the first one, because again, it's two-way data flowing out of it and into it. So where with property binding, we only send data into something, and with event binding, we get data out of something. Here, both directions are active, which again is two-way data binding.